Do you ever look at someone and wonder what is going on inside their head?
Did you guys pick up on that?
Sure did. Something's wrong.
Welcome back to Director's Choice. Inside Out is by far one of the most emotional movies in the Pixar universe. And with good reason. The movie's about emotions and how they affect our lives, so it's not surprising that it left most people in their feelings. It's been 7 years since the 2015 movie came out, but its impact is still significant. Today, we'll be breaking down how Inside Out fits into the Pixar theory. Stay tuned, because there's a shocking twist at the end. The Pixar theory. Before we get into Inside Out and how it fits into the Pixar theory, let's rehash the theory from the very beginning. This quick recap will help you remember everything you need to know about the Pixar theory. And if this is your first time hearing about this, then buckle up because it's a doozy. This Pixar theory is the theory that suggests that all Pixar movies exist in one universe and on one timeline. Most Pixar movies are standalone films, but this theory suggests that they are all connected. The movies in the Pixar universe all come together to tell one story that plays out in a single timeline. The timeline has witnessed the introduction of magic, the evolution of animals, the fall of humans, the rise of machines, the transformation of humans into monsters, and so much more. It's a complex story that begins in The Good Dinosaur and ends in Monsters, Inc. The story forms a loop that restarts in Brave, which is the second movie on the Pixar theory timeline. In this video, you'll find out where Inside Out fits in this incredibly complex, but actually pretty simple theory. Inside Out. Inside Out is a movie that focuses on the emotions of a young girl named Riley. Riley's controlled by 5 key emotions: joy, sadness, fear, disgust, and anger. Joy is the predominant emotion in Riley's mind. She calls the shots, and she ensures that most of Riley's memories are joyful. Throughout the movie, Joy learns the importance of other emotions. She learns that although feeling sad isn't great, it's necessary. Riley also learns to express herself more and confide in her parents when necessary. Inside Out timeline. Inside Out takes place early on in the Pixar theory timeline. It can be placed before or during the events of Finding Nemo. How Inside Out affects the entire Pixar theory. Inside Out showed us just how powerful human emotions can be. Humans have always been the batteries of the Pixar universe, but the real power lies in their emotions. Human emotions can fuel toys, cars, and even robots. It's the reason toys had life in the Toy Story movies, and it's the reason cars were having an energy crisis in Cars 2. There were no humans on Earth, so the cars were slowly running out of power. In Monsters, Inc., the monsters had to travel back in time to harvest human emotions because they needed them to power their city. Thanks to Inside Out, we now understand why humans have been used as batteries throughout the Pixar universe. Riley's emotions were a huge part of who she was. They affected not only her mood, but her actions and her life choices. That is how powerful human emotions can be, and that is why humans are used as batteries. Inside Out also shows us why monsters and toys tend to thrive off of the emotions of children. You would expect them to go after adults, since adults would have stronger emotions. But stronger emotions also mean more complex emotions. The monsters chose to scare children because they knew that children's emotions would be less complex than adult emotions, and therefore easier to harvest. Inside Out proves this theory by showing how complex Riley's emotions became as she got older. At the beginning of the movie, Riley's core emotions are more uniform, but by the end, she starts to have mixed emotions which are more complex. Why are the monsters losing power? At the end of Monsters, Inc., we see the monsters shift from harvesting fear to harvesting joy. They realized that joy was the more powerful emotion.
Hey, thanks a lot. I'll be here all week. Remember to tip your waitresses.
So they decided to make kids happy instead of making them scared. This adds up perfectly until you consider the fact that Monsters, Inc. has been in operation for several years. They had been using fear to power their city for years. So why was fear suddenly not enough? Why were they losing power? Nothing had changed in the monsters' world. So to answer this question, we need to figure out what was changing in the human world.
Actually, we don't scare anymore. Now we're laugh power. Sorry about that.
We already know that Sully and the other monsters travel back in time to harvest human emotions. But what we don't know is what time period they are traveling to. And that is what we need to figure out. Boo is a little girl in Monsters, Inc. But when she appears again in Toy Story 3, she's a bit older. This means that the time period the monsters are traveling to in Monsters, Inc. falls before the events of Toy Story 3.
Jelly beans.
Somebody's poison the water hole.
Poison? Who would do such a mean thing?
This is a very significant period in the timeline because it was during this time that human emotions began to shift from fear to joy. If we look at the time when Monsters, Inc. was thriving, it falls during the period when human emotions were predominantly fear. For example, in The Incredibles, where superheroes existed to protect the world from bad guys, and in Brave, which takes place during the scary medieval times. The leading emotion back then was fear, but over time it started to shift from fear to joy, which was why the monsters also had to shift. Joy became the more powerful emotion, so they need to change their tactics. Now that you know where Inside Out fits into the Pixar theory and how it affects the timeline, it's time for the shocking twist. Bing Bong is from Monsters Incorporated. We've established that human emotions are powerful. They can fuel cities, cars, toys, and much more. We also established that joy became the predominant emotion early in the timeline. Before Riley's emotions become more complex, she's a mainly happy person. All her core memories are joy, and her parents often refer to her as a happy girl. With so much joy radiating out of her, Riley would make an excellent candidate for the newly reformed Monsters, Inc. She already had so much joy to give, so it wouldn't be surprising if one of the monsters from Monsters, Inc. visited her when she was younger. According to this theory, Riley's imaginary friend Bing Bong was actually an employee of Monsters, Inc. He traveled back in time to bring her joy and harvest her emotions to power Monstropolis. During their time together, Riley and Bing Bong became very close. But as she grew older, Bing Bong stopped visiting her, which is why she only remembers him as an imaginary friend. He is stored in her memory as an imaginary friend and not as a real monster who she used to play with. This theory shows that Inside Out has a direct relationship to Monsters, Inc. If it's true, then that means Bing Bong didn't die the final death when he was erased from Riley's memory. He still exists somewhere in the Monsters, Inc. universe where he travels back in time to bring joy to little kids. To Joy and Riley, Bing Bong only existed in Riley's imaginary adventures, but it's possible that he existed long before that. There's also a good chance that Riley thought Bing Bong was imaginary from the very beginning. When she met Bing Bong, she was much younger, and so it's only natural for her to assume that he was from her imagination. That is why she stored him in her memory as an imaginary friend. It's comforting to believe that Bing Bong is somewhere out there bringing joy to children. His death in Inside Out was heartbreaking, but now we know that he never truly died. This theory is strengthened by the fact that Pete Docter directed both movies. Bing Bong's connections to Monsters, Inc. movie is an intriguing theory because it shows just how connected all Pixar movies are. Each movie tells an important story and adds a new piece of information to the timeline. That's it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. What do you think about the Inside Out theory? Let us know in the comment section below. Also, take a look at this other recent clip by Director's Choice. And please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon so you never miss an episode.